What are the best and worst fat loss tactics that you can do to not just get shredded, but to look as aesthetic as possible? Well, in this video, I'm going to be going through 16 fat loss tactics and ranking them from S tier all the way down to F tier. And I'll be crowning just one of them as S+, the single most effective fat loss tactic that got me from chubby at 20% body fat all the way down to shredded at 8% body fat. And I'll be ranking each of these fat loss tactics based on these three following criterias. 1. It needs to actually be sustainable for you to do this long term. 2. It needs to be a healthy way for you to actually go through weight loss. And 3. It needs to help you retain as much muscle as possible, so when you finally lean down to low body fat, you actually look your best. Now let's start with one of the most important fat loss tactics that's commonly overlooked: calorie tracking. Calorie tracking is an S tier. It is just foundational and there is no way of going around it. You need to be tracking your calories in order to actually shed all that body fat and have a lean aesthetic physique. It's the only reliable way to do it, and people that refuse to track their calories for some reason just seem to think that they're going to get ripped just by doing six-pack ab workouts or doing all these tactics, which we are going to be talking about later on in this video. And while they are good, don't even watch the rest of this video unless you are going to be calorie tracking the whole time. You need to be calorie tracking the food you're eating, but also the activities that you're doing as well. So walking and doing your cardio, all this stuff requires you to track your calories to some degree, and it needs to be done in a calculated way in order for you to achieve your result. People in the gym started noticing when I got to around 12% body fat and 10%. That's typically when you have like a beach lean physique, like your abs start to come through and you can kind of see your arm veins a lot more clearly. You get very defined, especially under the lighting of the changing rooms when I would get changed. And a few guys would come up to me and ask, "Oh man, like you're looking really good recently. How have you managed to lose all that weight? Are you doing like crazy cardio workouts? Are you doing this? Ab routines on YouTube?" By the way, none of that shit works. I just tell them the straight truth and it's just boring. I was just calorie tracking. I was being sensible with portion control, with how much food I was eating every day. And yeah, I was factoring in the calories from like activities and, you know, all the steps I was doing while walking and running. But additionally, also tracking my macronutrients as well. So making sure that I was getting adequate protein. So you want to be eating 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. But when you're cutting weight and you're actually trying to lose body fat, I'd even aim for like 1.5 times your body weight. So I weigh around 130 pounds. So at 130 pounds, I'm really aiming for like 200 grams of protein during my calorie deficit, which is quite a lot, but it's just the most guaranteed way to ensure that you can retain as much muscle as possible, which is the whole premise of this video. It's not just to lose as much fat as possible in a small given amount of time, which is good, but it needs to be done at a very slow rate so you can retain as much muscle as possible so your body doesn't really go catabolic and you lose muscle during a cut, which is, you just don't want to do that. Before we track calories, we want to figure out what our maintenance calories is. This is the amount of calories we need every day in order to actually stay the same weight, so not to gain or lose weight. You want to figure out what your maintenance calories is. And then you want to be going on that on the website. I'll put in the link in the description. You'll put in your age and your like details about yourself, your height, your activity levels. It'll roughly calculate what your maintenance calories is. It's not 100% accurate, but it's a good place to start. And then what you want to do is go a few hundred calories below your maintenance. You don't want to go like 1,000 below for the reason that we'll get into later, but you'll lose too much muscle during the cutting phase. You don't want to go on a harsh deficit. You want to do just a few hundred calories, get your body used to it, and your hormones won't go all over the place. Weigh yourself once a week. You want to take weekly trends. You don't want to weigh yourself every day just because your weight can fluctuate. You want to be milking that as much as you can to the point where once you stop losing weight, you then reduce your calories again by like 200 calories and then just weigh yourself again. So it's very similar to progressive overload in the gym. When you're doing a bench press, you're not going to be adding an entire plate onto your bench press. Like, you want to be incrementing by 2 to 5 kilos at a time, gradually increasing the weight and the strength. It's the same concept when you are reducing your calories and going into a deficit. A lot of people get this wrong and they just go way too hard, and then they just get discouraged and they never complete their cutting phase. So to successfully cut as a natural, and you're not, I'm assuming, not taking drugs, and you want to do this the natural, most healthy way possible, you want to do it gradually and be patient with the results. To track your calories, just go on the MyFitnessPal apps on Android, iOS. There's plenty of videos online on how to use this app. It's pretty simple. You just install the app and you just scan the barcode of the food that you're eating, and then you weigh the food, like your condiments or the ingredients you're using to eat or food outside. Just scan the barcode and just log it on the app, and the app will calculate everything for you. Calorie counting just has to be a habit ingrained in you. In the beginning of my fat loss journey, I was very undisciplined with my dieting. I would just rebound a lot, eating pizzas and burgers, but I made sure that I was tracking my calories, even on days where I was having cheat meals, with the understanding that it will allow me to have healthier habits later on in time, and therefore that's what led me to have a successful cut in the end. I formed those habits even when I was quote unquote taking L's and losing. You want to just have that patience and just see the bigger picture of what you're going after, and slow and steady is just gonna win the race. Next up is the Carnivore Diet. This is an all meat based diet, so no vegetables, no fruits, and for that reason I'm gonna put the Carnivore Diet in F tier. It really deserves F tier. Carnivore Diet is just a shitty diet. You should never do it if your goal is to actually be healthy, not to miss out on loads of micronutrients, and to actually feel good when you're doing your gym training and to not lose your gains. A lot of the craze that people go on about the Carnivore Diet online, claiming that it's cured them of autoimmune diseases. That's something Jordan Peterson has said. And then even Joe Rogan himself, like, he did the Carnivore Diet, and there's a clip of him like that surfaced saying that, oh yeah, like, I feel amazing on the Carnivore Diet, I have so much energy, and I don't get like the crashes from consuming carbohydrates.
I just did it to try to find out what it's like to only eat meat.
Right.
When you have no carbohydrates, one of the things that's most amazing is that there's no crashing. You would eat and you don't feel any different after you ate, other than the fact that you don't feel hungry.
Right.
And it's funny because there's actually another clip of him later on saying that he couldn't work out hard during his workouts because he wasn't having any carbohydrates.
The problem that I had with pure carnivore was that I work out very hard. And when I work out very hard on pure carnivore, I was struggling.
There's a reason for that, and it's because your muscles are made of glycogen, and glycogen is used to produce ATP. It's literally the main energy source of your muscles. So don't be surprised if you go through your gym workouts and you have an all meat based diet with zero carb. Any zero carb diet is just a guaranteed way to ensure that you're going to lose your gains in the gym, because you're not even giving it the main fuel source to be able to perform in the first place. It's just basic science that is just overlooked by everyone. And there's also this notion that the carnivore diet gives you all the macronutrients you need, and yes, it gives you macronutrients. Of course, you're going to hit your protein goals with the carnivore diet, but you don't get all the micronutrients from fruits and vegetables and all these other things just from meat. It's actually just a myth. Just think about who you're getting this news source from. Like, I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson. He's like a guy that really talks about how amazing the carnivore diet is, and his anecdotal experience might be true. But then if you just look at every single athlete, like Cristiano Ronaldo or an NBA player, like, you can look at their diets and they just eat a normal balanced diet. These people are like virtually billionaires and they have private chefs, and it's literally their job for them to be healthy, and they're not eating the carnivore diet. And you're telling me that like a bunch of people online who are not even remotely athletes claiming the carnivore diet is the best diet in the world. Is it smart to listen to that advice? I don't think so. Next diet on the list is similar to the carnivore diet. It is the ketogenic diet, or keto. And we're going to put this into D tier. This is another zero carb diet, and as I've just mentioned earlier, similarly to the carnivore diet, if you're not having any carbohydrates, then you're not going to perform that well in the gym. This is a really good diet for someone that actually doesn't want to have an aesthetic physique and all they care about is losing weight. They couldn't care about the muscles that they're going to lose along the way. And if you do the keto diet and you think you can go to the gym, perform well during a calorie deficit, then I've got news for you. You're probably going to look like Jack Does Fitness, or maybe Gollum, or that weird character from Lord of the Rings. A lot of the motivation behind the keto diet, people love it because they'll get onto the keto diet and then within like day 2 or 3 of having zero carbohydrates in their diet, they'll see the weight, like the weighing scales that they weigh themselves at, oh my god, it went down by like 2 kilos, and they'll think that they've lost that weight straight away, like 2 kilos of pure fat, which by the way, like should take you a month to lose if you're just doing like sensible calorie tracking, like I advised you guys earlier with my S tier tactic of calorie tracking. You don't just lose 2 kilos in 2 days of dieting. It's actually just water weight, and that is the common myth-busting thing I want to tell you about the keto diet. People losing water weight just think the keto diet straight away is just this amazing diet, and the reality is it's just being uneducated about what it truly is. So for that reason, it's going to stay in D tier. Just real quick, if you're enjoying this video, then I have a link to my school community in the description. This is where I'll be sharing my behind the scenes on how to lose body fat and how to build an aesthetic physique and all the knowledge that I want to impart onto you guys. This was a journey that took me from someone that honestly was a little bit chubby and insecure to someone that has actually like changed their life with this grind of fitness, and I plan to impart better knowledge onto young guys who are kind of misleaded with like social media and all the false claims on how to actually have a aesthetic, lean physique that is achievable in a healthy way. So link in the description to join my school community. The next fat loss tactic in dieting is whole foods. Whole foods is an S tier fat loss tactic. Food that's like real food. It's minimally processed, none of that garbage that you'll get from like takeaways or McDonald's, Burger King, pizzas. You can't expect to eat junk food and expect to achieve a physique that like less than 1% of the population have. Here's a fun fact, by the way. There's actually more millionaires in America than people with 6-packs. So just keep in mind like the seriousness behind this goal. When you're eating whole foods, I feel like it's just a psychological thing for me to being like, you know what, I'm actually taking this diet quite seriously. I'm eating healthy, I feel good about my decisions, and it just psychologically puts me in a place where I feel like I'm actually taking this goal quite seriously, as opposed to, you know, there's some bodybuilders that just say, you know what, you can just eat like pizzas and burgers and sweets, and as long as you're like in your calorie range, you're gonna get lean. Like, yes, you will get lean, but the whole premise behind this tier list is so that you can do fat loss as a natural in the most healthy way possible. Like, you want to have a 6-pack one day, look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you know what, I kept the most amount of muscle possible, I also feel really good, and I didn't eat shitty food along the way. I'm proud of myself. 400 calories from a McDonald's cheeseburger versus 400 calories of whole foods. And an example I'll give you, just today I ate sweet potatoes and tuna. That's 400 calories. Like, it was just a big bowl of that. I'm telling you, after eating that bowl for the rest of the day, I'm just like, man, I don't feel like eating shit. Whereas if I had that one cheeseburger from McDonald's, dude, you can probably have like 5 of them and still be hungry. And that's why you want to avoid processed foods and have whole foods. It just sets you up for success. So not only are you going to be satiated and you're going to have a load of micronutrients, and your cravings are going to be managed better if you eat whole foods, like actual real food. Like, you go down the supermarket, in those aisles that you might avoid, you just see those aisles where there's real food. That's whole foods. Obviously, it's not like a set in stone rule. There might be occasional days where if you want to get your protein, you might get it from whey protein and some unnatural sources. Okay, that's fine. But like 90% of the time, try to be healthy. That is in your control. And because the micronutrients in whole foods are actually really good for you, you'll actually recover better from your workouts, and you'll perform better during your workouts as well. And like I said, with the whole premise of this tier list, because your workouts are going better and you're cutting weight, you're going to actually retain more muscle. So the end result is just going to be a better physique when you're finally lean down. The next diet we have is meal prepping. Meal prepping is a solid A tier. I can't explain to you guys how much time freedom you get from meal prepping. Before, when I was earlier on in my journey of fat loss, I wasn't really doing meal prep. I was actually cooking every single day. Every day I was cooking dinner. I would have to go out, get the ingredients, and then just cook everything, and then clean everything, and then get my phone and track the calories. And I was doing that every day. So of course, like, you shouldn't be surprised that if you're doing that and you decide to cook every single day, it just takes one day for you to slack and just be like, you know what, today I just don't feel like cooking. I'm just gonna order food. And I'm telling you, that one fuck up, that one day can turn into a week, that week can turn into a month, and you've lost all your progress. Every Monday, I go to the supermarket, I'll get all the ingredients for literally 2 weeks worth of food that I'll have, like dinners, just ready to go. And yeah, sure, it'll take 4 or 5 hours for me to cook all of that. I'll put them in containers, in the freezer, in the fridge, you know, and just take them out, eat them as necessary every single day for 2 weeks. So 2 weeks of food I don't need to think about. And just for lunch, I'll have like yogurt bowls, like Whole Foods. So the Whole Foods section that we spoke about earlier, eating real foods. And that will be like, you know, yogurt bowls and fruits and oatmeal, like, you know, maybe toast or bagels, just like carbohydrates before a workout. And that stuff doesn't take much time to make. And then the meal prep that I've made, I just put it in the microwave and I eat it, and that's just my food done for the day. For 2 weeks, I'd rather do that and spend one day of 5 hours than spend a few hours every single day trying to cook something different. It gets a bit boring on your palate, sure, but like, some sacrifices have to be made. But I'm the kind of person that doesn't really mind eating the same food on repeat for a long time. So meal prepping is kind of just compulsory. You just have to be doing it. The next diet on the list is a crash diet. This is an extreme calorie deficit diet, and it just goes completely against my ethos of a good fat loss tactic because of how extreme it is and all the negatives that come with a crash diet. So for that reason, crash diet is going in F tier. It is a terrible diet, and it's literally reducing your calories by like 1,000 calories below your maintenance. So it completely dysregulates your hormones, and it puts your body in like a fight or flight survival mode, and your hormones are just going to go out of whack as well. So it really is going to lead to binging. With a crash diet, you need to understand that your hunger hormones leptin and ghrelin, so these just regulate your appetite, they just go out of whack. Crash diets are just for people that were too impatient throughout the winter period when I started cutting sensibly, and then I go on Instagram and TikTok, and these motherfuckers are out here like, oh wow, I need to do a crash diet for the next 2 weeks so I can get a beach lean 6-pack and I can show off to all my friends because I was too much of a lazy shit to go on a diet like late in winter like I did. I say to that motherfucker, you don't deserve to be lean. I've been sensibly dieting for months and months. You don't deserve to be lean. Fuck you. Also to mention that when you are doing a calorie deficit of that extreme, you're not going to feel good during your workouts. And again, that goes against the criteria I mentioned in this video where I'm judging these fat loss tactics, that if you're not going to have a good workout with this diet, then it is just to be avoided completely. This is not the place to be doing it. And there's a lot of bodybuilders that do these crash diets where they do these extreme calorie deficits, and they'll be like, oh yeah, like as a bodybuilder I do a crash diet, you know, I'm 6 weeks out for a competition. Like, a lot of people just make this assumption that because they're bodybuilding it's okay, but like a lot of these bodybuilders, they take steroids plus they have like pharmaceutical drugs to help them manage cravings. Me and you, like, if you're a complete natural and you want to be lean and to retain muscle and to do it like in a healthy way, like, you're not going to be using pharmaceuticals. There's not a single person on this planet that does a crash diet and they're like smiling throughout it. Like, it's hard enough to just do a calorie deficit as it is. The crash diet is just literally out of hell. It can stay in F tier. Now on to the final diet is intermittent fasting. This is an easy A tier. With intermittent fasting, it is a 16-hour fasting and then 8 hours you'll be eating. So obviously for 16 hours, half of that, so 8 of those hours you're sleeping. And then as soon as you wake up, you fast for another 8 hours. And then the last 8 hours of the day, that's your eating window. So you can literally spam as much food as you want. And as long as you can hold out for the first 8 hours of the day, those final 8 hours, like, you feel like you're having a feast. As soon as you eat something, your insulin spikes up. And then that signals your appetite hormones to your body to eat more. So it's a lot harder for you. It's just a battle that's just not worth giving yourself. As soon as you eat, your insulin just goes up and you just want to eat more. And with fasting, you just eliminate that, and like you get used to intermittent fasting eventually. It does get really easy, especially the tactics we'll be talking about later with like drinking coffee, for example. That really helps with intermittent fasting during that 8-hour window where you can't eat. And it's just really good because then you can have way more food like before your workout. So you can have all that food before your workout and after the workout as well. So you have loads of carbs before your workout, and then after your workout you have all your proteins and stuff like that. And your workouts can just go a lot better as opposed to just spreading your meals throughout the day or having them earlier on. Intermittent fasting is a really good practice for that exact reason. We're going to be going on to training and movement tactics. And the first one that we've got on this list is strength training. And I must say, strength training is an S+. S+ for strength training. This is foundational. At the end of the day, this is not a fat loss tactic which is short term. Having muscles is very expensive in calories. So if you have a high lean body mass, which is basically lean body mass is if you stripped all the fat off your body. So in my case, I weigh 60 kilograms. And if I was to strip all the fat off my body, I would weigh roughly around 55 kilos, let's say. With more muscle on my frame, not only do I look better when I'm leaner than I am now, if I had 5 kilos of muscle, which is a lot of muscle, by the way, it's going to take quite a few years to maybe get there. But it does mean that all the activities that you do, just like walking and taking a fucking shit, just doing everyday activities, like just surviving, existing, it's going to cost more calories. The version of me right now is on like 2,300 calories to maintain weight. The version of me with 5 kilograms extra muscle has like 3,000 calories or more. I don't know, like it's going to be significantly more calories just to maintain that weight. If you just tell yourself that you enjoy strength training, right? You just do it long term. It's just a part of your lifestyle, which it probably is if you're watching this video. You understand that this is for aesthetics, getting a good lean physique. You know the importance of strength training. Of course, yes, don't be that guy in the gym who bulks up to a stupidly overweight size and they're like a power lifter and you're really strong in the gym. Some people in the gym never get to the point where, you know, they're bulking and they're trying to, you know, gain strength. Don't be afraid to gain weight. But at the same time, like, don't pussy out when it comes to losing that weight as well. Like, you want to make sure that you're employing all these tactics while you're strength training. Like, strength training is the only fat loss tactic in this entire tier list that is constant. Whether you are losing fat or you're trying to go on a bulk and gain weight, this remains constant. This is a constant variable that just never switches off. The next training and movement fat loss tactic we have now is HiiT, or high intense interval training. I'm gonna put this into D tier. This is very ineffective for the amount of energy that you put in, and as you'll find out later, there are much better alternatives to HiiT training. HiiT training is just those ab workouts that you see on YouTube, like 15-30 minute burpees, intense bodyweight workouts. Like the guys on the thumbnail, he's like sweating his ass off, like, oh yeah, we're gonna be losing 300-400 calories during this. But I've seen so many guys in the gym that just do high intense like ab training, and you don't need to do ab training for your abs to reveal. Like, we all know this, you just have to lose enough weight, but you still want to train them. But I would just see so many guys use that as a reason to like, yep, I'm gonna get a six-pack and be in shape, but I don't want to track my macros or my calories. Some guy actually told me this, by the way, and I just looked at him just like, I had so much respect for you, but I've just lost respect for you now. Like you want to put all this effort into the gym, doing these HiiT workouts, and like, if you enjoy doing your HiiT workouts, alright, do your HiiT workouts. You don't want to track your calories? Are you kidding me? And you think HiiT workouts are going to get you there? And they're also really bad because they're just really fatiguing. Like, you have a strength workout to do on a calorie deficit. Alright? You want to do well in that. You want to put in all your oomph into that. It's hard enough to maintain muscle. Last thing you want is to do a HiiT workout and to waste energy. You just don't get much of an ROI for HiiT. So it's really bad for that reason. Now, the alternative to HiiT training is now this next fat loss tactic, which is really good, which is zone 2 cardio, which I want to put into S tier. Zone 2 cardio is just elevated heart rate at just zone 2. If you go out for a walk, you're just on zone 1. Zone 2 is just above zone 1. I only really got into zone 2 cardio when I started doing my marathon training. When you're doing marathon training, to actually get better at running and to get better at your aerobic capacity, and when you start doing zone 2 cardio, you'll find out that you're actually not great at running. And the way to get good at running, and the way I got better at running, I did a whole damn marathon, and in my training the runs were so easy for the first 6 weeks. I was questioning, like, am I gonna run this marathon? This is just really slow pace, it's way too easy. But you build a base, and that's why you want to go slow and easy. It's not like resistance training. You have to like train as much of a psychopath as you can when it comes to resistance training in the gym, but when it comes to cardio and running, you need to be taking it easy. And with zone 2 cardio, you want to be doing this for about 1 hour. 1 hour of zone 2 cardio will burn at least 600 calories, maybe a bit more. Depends on your body weight and your height. These variables will play a factor, of course, but you want to make sure that with zone 2 cardio, again, it's just easy, and it complements strength training really well because it's super easy to recover from. Unlike HiiT training, you're sweating and all your joints will hurt from all that jumping. Zone 2 cardio, you just take it easy. Like, just do it on the treadmill after your strength workout in the gym, not before, but just afterwards when you've used up all your energy. And just watch a podcast or watch brain rot if you're not so productive on your phone. Whatever business you got to take care of, just do it on your phone for an hour, do some zone 2 cardio, or what I like to do is just go for a run outside, zone 2, take it easy, and that's it. The next fat loss tactic that I have for training, a little bit unexpected, but it's calisthenics. Calisthenics, I want to put into a strong B tier. Calisthenics is really effective, obviously, for gaining muscle, maybe not as much as a gym in my personal opinion. And look, all calisthenics guys are jacked. Like, if you're able to do like front levers and front planches, like, you know, my hat's off to you. Like, you can do crazy stuff in calisthenics, like, that's why you're big. But a lot of these calisthenics guys, they do go gym as well, especially the really jacked ones, but they'll do like calisthenics workouts in the gym, you know, like they'll do pull-ups, but like weighted pull-ups. I do this myself as well. I've incorporated a bit of calisthenics into my resistance training in the gym just because it's fun. I've spent like 5 hours at a calisthenics park on a Saturday just because of the vibes being that good. And when you're like out there for that long, walking around a load and just having a good time doing workouts with the boys, like, yes, you're gonna lose a lot of calories, build some muscle, and have fun at the same time. And I'll plug up a card video of how to go to a calisthenics park and actually make some friends there. I made a video about how you can go to a calisthenics park in your local city or town and just meet a bunch of guys and just have a great time. So calisthenics is amazing. This next fat loss tactic is sports. I'm going to put sports into a B tier. So it's good to get into an actual sport, in my opinion. A lot of like us gym bros, like, yes, like the whole premise of this video is to have like the most aesthetic, lean physique possible. But if there's a sport you really care about, like martial arts especially, it's going to be really good. A lot of jack martial arts guys. I'll give you a little story. So there's a guy I knew in the gym. He was doing rowing, and every single strength workout he would do in the gym would be for rowing. He would be doing a there's leg lunges and like different types of squats and stuff, and a lot of like pulling rowing type of movements. And it's like very motivating to have a sport and to actually train for it, knowing there's like some sort of competition or some opponents you're going to go against if you're doing martial arts. In my case, it was a marathon. I had a goal time to get a sub 3:30, and a sport, do an actual sport, if you do like something that's a little bit more competitive, I'd advise more competitive sort of behaviors in sports if it's like an opponent or like a goal that you can do. So like with basketball, maybe you want to dunk, maybe with boxing you want to win your first amateur fight, or with me with marathon training, I wanted to get my first sub 3:30, and it's just very motivating, especially during those days where you just feel a bit down, you don't want to go to the gym. And like, yes, you can discipline your way through it, but like if you've got something like a goal ahead of you that like you want to get it, and like it's just motivating to get after that. Like there's something like very like masculine about that, and it just sort of sets off like the right signals in your brain, I think. So I would put it in A tier if you were to take my advice on doing a sport that would ignite that sort of goal or orientated mindset for you to chase something. But otherwise, if you're just going to do like a normal sport, like every now and then, it's okay. We'll put it in B tier, but it's A tier if you take my advice. The final training and movement fat loss tactic that we have is walking, specifically walking 10,000 steps. And this is probably just a cheat code. Just like zone 2 cardio, I would combine this with walking 10,000 steps. Do these two, that's really the only cardio you got to do. Like if all you care about is cardio, you don't want to do sports or HiiT training, you just want to do walking and zone 2 cardio, this is all you need. And doing 10,000 steps is just more of a lifestyle thing. So if you're just walking around shops, maybe you got a dog you got to take out for a walk, and your dog's going to appreciate it if you just spend a little bit more time walking around than you normally would. You can lose up to 300 to 500 calories a day doing walking, and then think about that multiplied by 7, like that's like what, 2,000 plus, depending on how much walking you do. I do a lot of walking, and a little tip I got for you guys to get in more steps is once you're in the gym doing your strength training, a lot of guys will finish their set in the gym and they'll rack the weight or the dumbbells, they'll drop them, and they'll just take their phone out and then just watch like some Instagram reels or send some texts, which I don't think you should do, by the way. Like in the gym, I'm in airplane mode and I'm there to just, fucking get it, right? Like I don't want to be distracted. They'll just sit there on the bench and not move. And what I've been doing recently is I've been walking around the gym in between my sets, and my sets have now like a 3-minute rest period now, or like even longer. Like I'll rest as long as I need to rest, so my rest periods are like a few minutes, and between every set in the gym I'm walking around the gym. Lo and behold, I walk to the gym and I'm also walking around the gym, obviously when I'm going to different machines and doing different weights, and also when I'm done with my set, I'm also walking around. Unless it's leg day, I'm not going to be walking around. But push and pull days on the bro split, I'm walking around the gym. Dude, I get those 10,000 steps real easy. So that's a little tip for you guys. Just walk around the gym after each set you complete, and it'll kind of just put you in a zone as well. You're kind of just walking around like, yeah, man, I'm gonna get this, yeah. Just like zone 2 cardio, walking is obviously really easy to recover from. It's not going to impair any like significant damage onto you, like to your joints, like it would with like HiiT, high intense interval training, and also like jumping rope, for example. I like jumping rope and doing some of these other cardio workouts we've mentioned in this tier list, but just foundational to your success, walking is just 100% must. And a zone 2 cardio is good to do, but it's kind of optional. The more you do it, the better. Walking, you just have to do it. You don't want to be the kind of guy that just like kind of lounges around in the house all day long, and then all you do is just go to the gym, like you just walk to the gym. That's all you do. I recommend you at least like pick up a sport and walk, and then you're kind of good to go. So that kind of sets us up for this next part of this video, the final part of this video, which is going to be lifestyle and hacks that I use in order to lose fat. We've got volume hacking, which I'm going to put into A tier. This is taking advantage of high volume foods that are not so calorie dense. So I'm going to put a graph on the screen that you should screenshot, refer to this, and it's basically just foods that are really like, you can have lots of it, but you're not going to net much calorie gain, if that makes sense. From the supermarket, I'll get like frozen fruit and a lot of like blackberries, like any sort of berries, and strawberries, watermelons. You know, watermelons are just mostly just water, and like vegetables and some leafy greens. I'm telling you, like if you can incorporate those ingredients like broccoli, cauliflower, all that stuff, man, into your meals, you can have so much of it and you won't gain any calories. Like if I put 300 grams of fruit into a yogurt bowl, 300 grams of fruit, man, like, and I gain only like 100 calories or so from that. That's literally like half a chocolate bar. Like, imagine eating half a chocolate bar and then putting the chocolate bar down and then telling yourself, I'm not going to eat any more chocolate. No one does that. You're going to eat the entire chocolate bar. Lo and behold, you might just eat the entire packet. But if you ate like 300 grams of fruit or 200 grams of like sweet potatoes, like Wholefoods, just like the fat loss tactic earlier that I mentioned, like Wholefoods is an S tier, then you're good. Like you don't need to like worry about being hungry most of the time, apart from like if you're wanting to do intermittent fasting, which you adapt to after like a week or two anyway. Eating high volume foods is literally the way to go. This next tactic, fat loss tactic, is a little unexpected, and that is a standing desk in combination with a walking treadmill. It's just really good to have a standing desk if you have like your own office space, because you're standing up most of the time in the day, and it's kind of psychological. Like when you're standing up, you're more engaged with your work. But it just put me in a better frame of mind to be just more active and to just like leave the house from time to time. I never had the walking treadmill. I'd be willing to try it in the future, and I imagine it's probably quite easy to get your step count in when you have a walking treadmill. But just the standing desk alone, you can buy one for like £150 or so. Walking treadmill a bit cheaper, and like they're quite cheap and they're very easy to assemble. But having one just put me in a good frame of mind. Like I'm kind of stood up, got my gym clothes on already. Like I'm gonna go for a walk because I'm already standing up, right? Or I've got my gym clothes on. Like it just encourages like a better mindset for me to be more active, to not just engage with my work better outside of fitness, but also like, you know, to not skip out on workouts. It's very hard when you're lying down in like the bed or the couch with your phone, for example, and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to go to the gym. But when you're stood up and you've kind of got the blood kind of rushing through your body and kind of moving around a bit, you're more likely to stick to just being active in general. So for that reason, it's a B tier. And also in B tier is going to be coffee. Coffee, man, it's a strong B. I'm going to put it on the top of B tier actually, just because it's really good at suppressing my appetite. Very good in combination with an intermittent fast. So like I said earlier, with an intermittent fast, when I wake up in the morning, I have that 8-hour window where I'm fasting. I have so much coffee during that time. I'll have maybe like 2 to 3 coffees a day, maybe 4 if I'm pushing it. Switch out your milk to maybe lower calorie alternatives like almond milk or coconut milk. I've been trying. There's so many different types of milks which are like low in calories. And I know it's not going to be as nice as having like a barista, like nice thick milk in your coffee. Maybe if you have like 1 coffee a day, you can sparingly have it and just track your calories to just have that. But if you just want to have a coffee, you don't even want to think about it, have a black coffee with literally no milk, or have such a low calorie milk like almond milk to the point where it's like you don't even need to count the calories for almond milk because it just doesn't really taste of anything great. But at least it frees up your mind a little bit. If you just want the no bullshit path to get to your final goal, It is literally calorie counting, strength training, intermittent fasting with a coffee, with zone 2 cardio and walking. Those 6 things is all you need. Everything else is just kind of like a bonus. Like, it makes your life just a lot easier, like the meal prepping and the volume hacking. Like, all this stuff is really good. But just those things, you're golden. You don't need anything else. A lot of these fat loss tactics just came down to experience and having to do it in the most healthy way possible, and to obviously maintain muscle and be very patient in my journey. And my journey obviously started off with the video that you saw when I was quite fat and chubby, and honestly I had a very low self-esteem at that point in my life, and the transformation was, I had to be very patient with that, and it took me a while. And I want to impart my knowledge onto you guys through not just educational research I've done, but through actual experience. And I'll be sharing all my learnings and behind the scenes. A link in the description to my school community where I'll be sharing all that valuable knowledge and experience that I'm currently going through. I want to build a community of like-minded men to really do things in a more disciplined and healthy way. A lot of like the social media and all the like false knowledge that kind of goes around, like I kind of want to fix that perception for young guys and just get them on a more healthy, more disciplined path, and just have a community for that. So that's my school community, link in the description. See you later, stay shredded.